Shalawam, family, Shalawam. Hopefully, everyone is doing wonderful today. Um, on this subject matter that I'm gonna deal with today, family, I know it's been about 2 weeks dealing with this murder situation, and I say murder, even though they stated manslaughter, dealing with the Botham Jean investigation, manslaughter case. But anyway, before I get into stating what I think about the situation, let me start off by giving my condolences to the family and the friends and the loved ones of this young man. I know it's really tough on them. I know it's really tough on them. I could, I can't even imagine. Especially when you start looking at, you know, the little evidence that the general public know about. It's hard to imagine, the smear campaign that's going on, dealing with this so-called marijuana that was found in this young man's apartment. What that have to do with the murder? You know what I'm saying? It's just and I think a police radio and a police jacket or some stuff like that. It's like, man, it's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad. You know. But anyway, family. Let me put this out here. This is not legal advice. I do not offer legal advice. Um, this is just the way I see things. The information that I put out is just my opinion. It's the way I feel about things. If you choose to do the research on your own and find out what's come up with something different. By all means, it's the way you feel. Again, so I'm just stating what I see. This is what I see. It's not you know it's not by any means to be taken as legal advice. But anyway, family, let's look at what I see. Let me give you what I see. Conflict of interest, number one. The reason why I say conflict of interest, you have the Rangers, the Texas Rangers, that are over the investigation. They work for the state, right? You have the chief of police. She works for the state, even though it's a local, only at a local level, but it's still the state. She says she wants transparency, but the thing that really kind of stuck with me was, if you wanted transparency, wouldn't it make sense for you to do your own investigation, or let your department do the investigation, and you make sure you stay on top of it, and whatever information you think that the public should know, you can control that. Because you give your authority to another department, and we know the history of a lot of these government departments, what have you. They would bump heads and stuff like that. They wouldn't share certain information. They would hold back certain information from one another. So again, this history, just the history of a lot of these departments. We have the district attorney who works for the state at the local level, right? She's supposed to be securing an indictment to see if this case can reach the grand jury and things of that nature. So being that she is over this, so she would have access to all the information. But again, there's an outside source that's heading the investigation, the Texas Rangers. Now, before it goes to the grand jury, I think they have what they call like an ex parte trial, meaning that's a one-sided trial, meaning the DA look at all the evidence, and she can say whether it's evidence they can use to present to the grand jury or not. So I just look at all that. You know what I'm saying? The officer in question works for the state. So the reason why I say all this is a conflict of interest because none of these people really work for the Jean family. None of them work for the Jean family. You know, they say they took a sworn oath to protect the public, but when we look at the conflict of interest, again, that goes with the arrest warrant that happened to come 3 days later, and the affidavit that the young lady wrote, she turned in. There was a conflict dealing with these two. They wasn't lining up. Again, I mean, this is the way I see things. I see things. It's like from the information I've seen with other with attorneys that have spoke about this situation on the affidavit, it doesn't seem like that her actions were what they call reckless. So let's deal with manslaughter for a second. Let's deal with manslaughter. Again, I'm reading out of a Black's Law Dictionary, so you can go look this up yourself. Manslaughter, the unlawful killing of another without malice. So there you go, right there. That's without malice. So we're going to touch this in a second. Either expressed or implied. Such may be either voluntarily upon a sudden heat or involuntarily, involuntarily, but in the commission of some unlawful act. The unlawful killing of a human without any deliberation, which may be involuntary, in the commission of an unlawful act without due caution and circumspection, right? Let's make this make sense. Manslaughter. She killed him without malice. Her testimony is she had worked 14, 15 hours, whatever. She was tired. She got off at the wrong apartment. She went to the wrong floor. Then which she wound up going to the wrong apartment. And upon entering the apartment, saw a silhouette of a person. She gave a command. They didn't answer. She shot. Now, let's make this make sense from my perspective. Just from my perspective. Even though you're tired. You want to make sure. I mean, most people out there that have a job have worked overtime and have been tired. And I would be willing to bet that most people don't go to the wrong apartment. They don't go to the wrong floor. So you drove an extra floor. If you're that tired, you're not trying to go to the. You might go one floor short, but you're not going to go an extra floor. Then you park, and you overlook the sign where your vehicle was parked at to tell you what floor you was on. Okay, so you went an extra floor, then you overlook the sign that showed you what floor you would have been on. Then you get to the apartment has a red carpet. I mean, you miss all three of these things. You know, but this the killer part about it, family. And I pun the expression, there's no joke intended with that. Apparently there was a complaint. This lady had made a complaint about her neighbor above her. Now, once we put all this together, to me, look like motive. Now, if it's motive in Texas, from my understanding, it's capital. That's like murder one, and that would be capital punishment. This is why when I look at this is why they made the affidavit like it was, so they could get her a lesser charge. But in getting her a lesser charge, now they're trying to prove that she didn't do it without malice. Let me get the next definition dealing with manslaughter. Criminal homicide constitute manslaughter when, I want y'all to think about this, it is committed recklessly. There's several attorneys that came out already said that when they looked at the affidavit that it didn't seem like her actions were reckless. Again, family, who can you trust? But these people keep on talking about transparency, having the community trust them. How can you trust them? How? I mean, it's beyond logic in my mind for me to trust these people. And the sad thing about it is, what my people don't get is, you have a so-called black DA, a so-called black chief of police, and from my understanding, the Texas Ranger that's over the investigation will be black too. Now, this is the thing about my people. We would follow the letter of the law to protect so-called white people. But when it comes down to them, they will fudge everything up to protect theirs. Because again, and I don't want to make it a black or white thing. We have a young man that's dead. It should be about justice. But time and time again, it's like so-called black people get the short end of the stick. It's like we get the short end of the stick. And here it is. This is supposed to make us comfortable because we have a so-called black face over the investigation. We have a so-called black face that's over the police department. We have a so-called black DA. Okay, well, like I stated before, who do you work for? You work for the state or you work for the people? Because if you go look up the definition, you're going to see state and people are one and the same. But most people don't realize when it says people, it's not including you. It's a corporate fiction. It's a corporate fiction. It's not a living, breathing man or woman. With that being said, peace, love, Shalawam.